Dear viewer, are you familiar with Pokemon? I mean, it's only the highest grossing media franchise of all time, but you know, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. But honestly though, what does grossing even mean? I just checked, it's the amount of money earned before taxes are involved. Kind of ironic that it sounds so icky when the truly gross part is the taxes coming in. But I digress. The peak of my Pokemon YouTuber obsession was around the X, Y, and Sun and Moon days. My homepage was full of YouTubers like Proparodri, the J Wits, Mystic Umbreon, and even Chadtronic with the few videos he had on YouTube. But M&J TV in particular posted a video one day about his own population of fan-made Pokemon. It inspired me to create my own Pokemon game with a cool region and an all-new list of pocket monsters. But that was also when I realized I'm a character creator first and a world-building creator never. So I have here the first notebook I ever used to make these fake pocket monsters, and I'm going to react to these with you since I haven't really seen these in literal years. I think the only ones I remember are the starters, but let's go ahead and pop this thing open. So right off the bat, I know it doesn't say Pokemon blank and blank or anything. It just says the unofficial book of Zapoteco, which was the name of the region. But down here it says it was Solar Skies and Immense Destruction. And I don't remember what Demence was supposed to mean, but I know I was trying to look for a cool like opposite word for like the sky. So I just have to assume that Demence means something underground or below. And here's a little sketch of the main dudes of the games. It says I made the book here in 2017, but all of the Fakemon inside of it were created in 2014. And I don't really know how much I trust past me, because 2014 seems like a hell of a early start to creating OCs. But here's the grass starter. Jesus, it's kind of got a design that only a mother could love. But I based it off of a mantis. I remember thinking what a cool grass type could be, because I'm more of a very fire type heavy. Sometimes water types if they're cool enough, like Poplio. But a lot of the times I will skip over the grass type completely because I just think it looks kind of lame. And so I landed on a mantis as the coolest animal I could think of. And this one's name is Manter. I don't remember what that's supposed to mean. I know it's mantis and something slicer, I guess, because it has these like little knife limbs to go with it. And that's a little more prominent with its evolved form, Slantis / Mantis. Kind of got little like leaf ears going on here. I don't know what that's all about, but it's a grass dark type. And then its final evolution is the coolest one, Gigantus. I'm proud of this name. And it is a grass dark in solar and grass steel in Demence. That's one of the cool like features I had for this fake game. It was going to be that a lot of the Pokemon change types depending on the version you chose. And I tried to keep the designs vague enough to where you could kind of go about it anyway. Like these dark parts are for grass dark. These random little lines are supposed to be steel, I guess. But then we move on to the fire starter, which is a Charmander if it was on 4 legs. It's Lizire, Lizard Fire, very creative, I know. Flizzard is actually my favorite part of this evolution line. His entire idea was basically going to be fireballs, you know? And then we have Eruptor, which kind of just looks silly, honestly. He's supposed to be firefighting in solar and fire ground in Demence. And the way I showed that was by giving him a normal arm for solar and a fucking statue for Demence. I really don't know what I was thinking here. He has like a lightning tail going on, like a lightning bolt. That's kind of weird. He sort of reminds me of like those drawings you'd make as a little kid where you just kind of added all the cool features that you've seen from other monsters and rolled it into some Frankenstein mess. I do remember him being my favorite in the past though. Nowadays, looking back at this original drawing, he is... God, somebody's got to put him out of his misery. Charwal is a shy narwhal. He's a water type. I also beat Pokemon at this because this came out before Sobble's shy ass. And then he immediately gets confidence with a Drisher, which I believe is Drill, and Washer. Water Psychic, not really sure how this shows it, because there's supposed to be like an aura around the water that he's controlling, but if he's a water type, he can kind of already control water to begin with. Water Psychic and Solar, and Water Ice and Demence for Sunarwal. That's a cool fucking name. I like that one. He's kind of got a bit of the same design philosophy going on as Gigantus, with little random like metal parts or lightning parts. I guess I really liked lightning bolts back then. And then a little bit of dark lines here just to make them look extra cool. Past this, I really have no idea what we got. But we have Bunaby, who he does have an evolution. Bunich, normal grass. He has kind of like little, I don't know, bunched up lettuce ears, I guess. We have Lyomo, who's normal fire, who evolves into Basaroar, who's fire ground. I feel like that name would make a lot more sense to this guy, because he's still normal. That would make sense for the basic roar. Toxaworm, I do actually remember now that I think about it. Bug Poison, he's kind of like the Caterpie of the region, but I liked the choice I give players here, which it turns into Chubbug, Bug Poison, because I didn't like the idea of a Chrysalis, like a Metapod, Kakuna type thing. I wanted him to still kind of be, I don't know, I guess mobile. But you get the choice between Poisafly and Venaby if it's holding a honey cup when it evolves. So you either become Poison Flying or Bug Poison. I'm leaning more towards Poisafly because those wings actually look pretty cool when you look at them from a distance. When you look at them super close though, it's just kind of a scribbling mess. Inbird is based off of a Angry Bird toy that I used to have that I kept in a capsule ball. And I assume when I was designing this, I was still playing with those toys. And I just kind of turned them into a Pokemon. So I know this means introvert and bird. And then this one also has double evolutions with extrovert or Brock, which is Brawl Hawk and extrovert bird. I don't know why extrovert means he's a psychic now, but I guess he's like that. And Brock looks nothing like Inbird, so I don't really know why it's kind of like a double whammy. I guess Venaby and Poisafly also don't look alike at all, but you know. Then there is Nailfance, normal little elephant with a nail for a nose. I guess I forgot to make space for his middle evolution, so it's kind of just tied in there. But this is Elawhack, Elephant Whack, normal grass, and then its final evolution is Elifmer. This guy actually looks like a Pokemon you'd bring into the Elite Four with. That's a cool motherfucker. Wow, I'm impressed. We have iLeaf. This one was based off of those green tomatoes. I'm just remembering this. Back then, I would have to like peel the green tomato skin off of the tomato for my mom when she would cook, and I hated how sticky it was. But I guess that gave me the idea of making it a Pokemon while designing this Pokédex. So that's how we ended up with iLeaf. And then we got a little bit of like gender choice action going on here. It can either become the grass male Chompri or the grass female Chompri. I don't know what those mean. I think I was just trying to look for gendered type sounding names. And then the final evolutions is the grass fighting Spitato or Leafra. I'm not really sure why it started becoming more of like a crab, I guess, or like a crab or like a weird, just like person. I don't know. I thought we were sticking with the tomato, but crab it is. Then we have Irisiple, which means eel and irresistible. He's just kind of there. Wormlie and Hisli. Wormlie is exclusive to Solar. Hisli is exclusive to Dement. And then their evolutions were supposed to have a type of rivalry with Aura Stripe and Snake Stripe. I'm not really sure what Aura Stripe means. It has to do something with fire, I think. But yeah, this fire ground, grass water, we're gonna be rivals. now that I'm talking about it, Snake Stripe totally wins. Holy hell. We have Grazing, another grass type. A lot of grass types in this one. Who evolves into Clovebang, who can either be grass fighting in Solar or grass psychic and Demence. Handskit and the Fluff Shark are literally just a basket and a cloud. We're on number 36. I don't know how much more creative I can get after this. Oh wait, I remember this guy. He might look basic as hell, but I think he's like one of my top favorite Pokemon I've ever created. Sand Soaring, Ground Psychic, and then Durampage. Is that not a fucking cool name or what? He is Ground Dark and Solar, and then Ground Psychic and Demence. I don't know what it is about him. It's just, I don't know. Pile of Sand can be really cool. We have Block All, which kind of just looks like the long-lost cousin to that one guy. Jawloon, which seems like the mirror of Drifloon, because Drifloon is like evil, so I guess this guy is a good one. Doll Call and Shoutfin. I do actually want to point this out. Doll Call and Shoutfin were made before Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's little hero Dolphin. So I'm starting to see, like, I predicted a lot of this stuff. The next thing you know, we're going to see a pillow and a blanket and maybe even a fucking couch for a Pokemon. What is Snorlax doing there? Seriously, what is Snorlax doing here? Why did I include already pre-made Pokemon? Doesn't Snorlax know this is an all Fakemon party? What the hell? Bug Pack, Bug Normal, and then Insabag, which is Bug Ground. I think what I was going for was, with Sun and Moon coming out with the Rotom decks, I wanted to create another species of Pokemon that you can kind of take in during your journey, but it's not like necessarily in your team. So he would act as your traveler's bag. I still think they should implement that, honestly. That seems like a really interesting concept. We have Stumpwine and Ember, two shy Pokemon who turned confident. I'm noticing a pattern here. Cubit, which is a bunny trapped in an ice cube, and then Isacabit, who can now control the ice cubes. Ninjskill, that's just a person. Norma, that's just a dog. Electrol, Stataball, and Svolt. I kind of like his name, Svavolt. That's kind of like it's not like a totally nice ring to it, but it's a satisfying ring. Obviously rip-offs of Voltorb. We have Deathshroom, which is death and mushroom. Flamingo, which is a flamingo who's caught on fire. Sigmouse and Rodents kind of seem interesting at face value, but then you realize it's just a rat with a rod sticking out of it. But it's electric normal and then electric ground. Are there any electric ground Pokemon out there? I'd have to check. I have to double check, but that seems like kind of like a unique typing there. Now we're getting into the super uncreative ones, because that's just a pool noodle. That's a bigger pool noodle. That's a tetherball, and that is a tetherball pole. I don't even like tetherball. That's an Uno card I gave limbs to, and that's an Uno card I gave wings to. Oceanbit looks a little bit more interesting. It's like a rabbit and a mermaid mixed together, but I think I was just knocking off Poplio there. Moxer actually looks really interesting though. It's kind of like a diamond in the rough, if you will. It is a mole boxer. I was so proud of the name that I had to make sure I remembered it for years to come. He is a fighting ground type. And besides the weird anatomy on the legs here, I don't know, his ears, the boxing gloves, everything looks pretty nice. I'm impressed. Night Taker is just a cloud. Cooley is a dice. And then Musinote and Part Note are just music notes. But I would like to point out that the Musinote line is the only normal and sound type. I based this off of the popular fan theories back then, where ever since they introduced the fairy typing in X and Y, everybody was like, oh man, what's the new type going to be for, Sun and Moon or the next game or the next game after that? And they didn't really deliver on that at all. They kind of just went into gimmick moves instead of new typings. But sounds, I don't know, I'm not really a big fan of it anymore. Sound just seems really unnecessary when normal already has a lot of the moves of it. If sound were to become a type, I think normal typing would just lose 80% of its moves. And we've now reached the legendary mascots. This is the solar mascot, Roargon, who is ground dragon and obviously toothless. And then Demence's Tigron, flying dragon, who's a tiger. Pretty cool. And as Fakemon dexes go, I had to include a rip-off of the three legendary birds. We have Flatpour, water flying, Heat Goal, who is fire flying, and then Forest Bird, who is grass flying. At the bottom here, we have the two only mythical Pokemon. Psychic Flying Shootar, who's a shooting star with a rainbow for a cape. That's pretty neat. And then the literal personification of evolution itself. And he's only normal type. All in all, I feel like that was a pretty acceptable lineup for a child-made Pokédex. Maybe even above average. But what about a teenage-made Pokédex? Bet you weren't expecting that. Yeah, so this was made, I think, I want to say like maybe in 2021, around there. It was when I was in high school, where I took a look back at that old Pokédex, and I decided to remake it in hopefully a better art style. I don't know. But now it's time for Pokemon Project Revolution, Pokédex and Handbook. I think there's extra info on these things afterwards. But just on the first page alone, this guy looks so freaking cute and better. Obviously, the anatomy is still terrible, but I think what I was going for was just updating the original designs. Like, those mantis legs are completely ridiculous. But I gave him like little goggles. You can see the little glare there. I think the goggles are probably one of the best design updates I've ever done to a character ever. There's also a couple name changes, I believe, because he is named Mantiny instead of Manter. Grass in there, Grass Dark, and then Grass Dark. I guess I got rid of the double typing. Then we have Lizire. He has kind of like a little bit of dark spots there. Oh, I forgot to mention in the first one, but those little squares on his back are supposed to be like heating pads, and that's how you could tell that he's like powering up. Kind of like with Tepig's little hold on. It was kind of like Tepig's little tail in the anime, where it would like kind of heat up whenever he would do fire moves. That would be like kind of the same case for his heating pads there. And then we get into Flizzard. Seems a little more dynamic here. I like that I kept the sleeves, but now they're more towards like his wrists rather than his shoulders. And then Eruptile. Probably could have picked a better name for that one. But he's firefighting for good. He still kind of has this weird like technology stone arm thing in the middle there. But it also looks like he has a medal, which is a nice touch, and I like it. I prefer this one to the original design. Maybe if he were a little bit longer, he kind of looks a little chibi here. But then we get Tasharwal. And then Driluga, I think it's Drill and Beluga, like a beluga whale. So he turns into Sunarwal, which has now been fixed as a water psychic. And he seems a little more lame now, to be honest. The little random lightning bolts kind of made him have a cooler design. And if you couldn't already tell, I went more towards a BDI style for this this remake. I have kind of mixed feelings about that now that I'm looking at it. Like the previous one, I feel like had a little bit more like design differences, but this one kind of makes it seem like they're all kind of part of the same like evolution line in a way. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but these BDIs got to change. We have Inbird again. He has like actual better detailed wings. He's no longer in a capsule ball, but he still evolves into Extrovert. Brock is gone. Toxaworm, looking jolly as ever. And then the next evolution is Chubug. I like this redesign because in the original one, you couldn't really tell he had leaves too much on the back there, but he does. And then, of course, we got to keep the double evolution of Venabee and Poisonfly. I love Poisonfly's new design here. It kind of looks like fire wings, despite being poison flying. I think that's just a nice aspect. It reminds me of those posts you see, where they're like, oh, butterfly wings have like giant eye designs on them to scare away predators. And I think that kind of works here as well, where like you see fire wings, and so other Pokemon, like flying types, will kind of like avoid Poisonflies because they'll think like it's a fire type, you know? And then we have Venabee, looking cute as ever there with a bug poison type. Cub Knight, now that's a better name there than Lyamul. And then Burroar, which I think is Burn and Roar. He's still a fire ground type there. And then we have Electric, so instead of Eel Irresistible, it is Eel and Electric. Pillow's still there, Blankwitz is still there, but Couchlore is missing. And I kind of wish I kept him. I don't know what my beef was with Couchlore, I guess, but I don't know, maybe I should bring him back if I ever make a third rendition of this. We have Stumpwine there, Old Grass Ground, Trunkadence, and now onto the GOAT, Sand Soaring. His evolution right here, is that... Honestly, I think that's a great update from the original Rampage there. He's got like little cool sunglasses now. His targets on his hand seem a little more prominent there. Maybe the head is a little bit too like Goomba-like, now that I look at it, but his whole body is supposed to be constantly flowing sand, so that could change any minute. Night Taker still here. Musinote and Partnote are as well, except I took away the sound typing because I guess I had to change a heart even back then. Nailfint turns into Elifmer. I took away the middle evolution. I didn't know that. Elifmer still looks really cool. But I just have this like constant problem with this updated Pokédex now that they're just too chibi now. Like the original, you could feel like kind of the size of them, and this one just feels like I'm looking up their little icons when like they're getting healed at the Pokemon Center rather than actual art. Devolt, I think that's the first new Pokemon that I've seen in this list so far. He is a Devil and Bolt. Instead of regular devil horns, I think that's supposed to be little chargers on each end of him, even including the tail. So I like that. Bunaby's back, and then Cubit is back. Both of them are without their evolutions, though, for some reason. That surprises me. I don't know why anybody would ever pick Bunaby by itself if this is like supposed to be like an actual game, you know? Same for Cubit. Same for whatever the hell this is. Buybat. Fluff Shock, that's just the cloud again. Oh, we have like a new pre-evolution to block all called Stopple. He has little stop signs for his hands up until it becomes just this like big old hand thing. I like it. Budpack and Insabag, amazing as ever. Ember, yeah, he lost a bit of his dark fur there. But then we have Blastair, and he kind of reminds me. He kind of reminds me of Eruptor's old design here. Not so much like the whole like stone technology line things, but it's just more of like the hands being different colors. This little blocky part here. Who knows? Why did I keep Norma? Moxer's back. Honestly, Moxer honestly got a bit of a downgrade here. I don't like this design at all. Wow, he's just like he's so like tiny and minuscule, and then his stance is just I don't know. iLeaf, classic one. Chompray, and then Spotato and Leafra. I guess for Chompray, I decided to just keep Chompray. Chompray is a pretty, like, all-around name anyway, so I guess that makes sense. And then Spotato and Leafra kind of keep that weird, like, humanoid, crab arm thing. Sababy and Saberbites, they are fossil Pokemon. Okay, that's interesting. I feel like these designs wouldn't pass actual Pokemon games just because it looks so similar to the legendary mascot. And then we have Cyrit, which is a psychic parrot. I like that his eyes are like permanently closed and only his third eye is open. The statue and Ghoul, I guess, maybe? I don't know. Spranks and Sprank's morality mode. Okay. Ghost and Ghost Fairy, I guess it's kind of like a Murpeco type thing. Or Murpico? Sorry, I don't remember. But it's that Pokemon who like looks sweet and then it can turn like evil at an instant. I guess it's kind of like the same deal here. Sniglu, which is a snail and an igloo. I like that. That's creative. It's cute. Ermineral and Telekin, whatever the hell. Ermineral is based off of this one mammal who I believe is quite literally just named an ermine. And then I just kind of slap some rocks on it. Gelassi and Maturish. I like this one. Look at him with his little monocle and stuff. He's water and water. Okay, I feel like I should have given him a second typing. But right here, it says it is a lunar exclusive. I might have missed that on some of the other ones, but this is the first time I'm clearly seeing one of the newer Pokemon being exclusive to one side. I probably should mention the lunar part. So instead of keeping this as Solar and Demence, I thought Demence was too obscure of a word to keep. So I ended up thinking of Lunar instead. I know, it sounds really similar to Sun and Moon. But you gotta keep in mind, Solar and Lunar just sounds really cool. But back to the Pokédex. We have Score Poison, which is a Scorpion and Poison type. He's Poison Metal. I'm curious to see this guy in color. Because if it's a metal type, Would his whole body be metal, or would just the stinger be metal? You tell me. We have Wormadao and Titanari and Handskit, another batch of really basic Pokemon, if I'm being really honest. Dalcall and Shalfin, okay. They're the solar exclusive. Water, Ice. Ice comes out of his little blowhole cannon thingy. That's interesting. And he still has the like a little water cape. Magibear does not look like he belongs in here at all, but he's here. We have Grier, we have Pengsplash, Triguin, and Emberton. And there's an interesting backstory to these. So I didn't just make these Pokemon like by myself, right? Well, my best friend, I had him make his own Pokemon. I don't know if I have the sketch anywhere, but I'll put it up on screen in case I do find it before uploading it. But he came back to me with this like rabbit made out of grass caught on fire, who is fire grass. I don't know what the rabbit motif is about, but I found the name Grier really funny. So I added him into this Pokédex when updating it. And then Pengsplash, Triguin, and Importin, they're part of a second lineup of starters that I made for another Pokemon game called Blaze and Dusk. Fearder, which is a fear and a spider. Draxent is a bug and dragon type. I don't really know what bug that is. He kind of looks more like a deer mixed with like scythes for legs there. I don't know. It's kind of a weird design there. Cubeblock is just a ice cube. Electrol, Stataball, and Svivolts are still here. That's nice. Honestly, I should have cut this guy out of here so I could have a full page of just the Electrol line. But then we have Blogron, who is a blocky dragon, metal dragon. Bunfire, I believe he was the fire starter for Blaze and Dusk, and I don't think that there's like some evolution line for him because I think I only went as far as him. Pengsplash was the only one I actually made a full evolution line for. Tidepole turns into Fromani. Cactfun is a very jolly cactus. Gelectric and Detectric. I like this one actually. It reminds me of the Magnemite line, but instead of magnets, it's like a little charger brick. Detectric kind of makes it seem like it could be part of a detective's lineup of Pokemon. Littleroot is just pure flying. Oh wait, next evolution. Gigalkin. He reminds me of Brock. Seadrin turns into Dublive. I think this was inspired by an old Sea Monsters story I wrote back in middle school. This guy just looks wacky. I was really bad at anatomy. Grazing is still here. Dropletopus and Platahunk. They were also a starter lineup for a game that I don't remember anymore. But I brought them over to the Solar and Lunar Pokédex. Koaleaf, pretty standard grass type. Turtle and Transporter were kind of like my answer to my own version of Lapras, even though nobody asked me to make it. But I do like the addition of the little seats there. It makes it more visible that you could like ride on it. And then we move on to the actual legendaries. I kept the rip-off legendary birds here. But there is a new guy here called Colored, who is normal flying. I assume in coloring, he would be rainbow colored. Then we have the Solar Legendary, Little Roar, and Roargon, who only evolves from Dragon Orb. Then we have the Lunar Legendary, Tinker, and Tigron. Tigron looks very similar to his original design. Besides the Scarlet and Violet evolutions, where they kind of had like a lesser form before they like turn up with their wheels and stuff. I don't think any legendaries existed where they had a pre-evolution of sorts. So I think I beat the Pokemon Company at that too. Then this page was supposed to be part of the handbook portion, where I was actually going to attempt some world building. So we have the gym leaders here with Leonardo, Linda, and Robert, who have the basic badge, pyro badge, and wave badge. And if you're wondering the side here, this is the like fake team I would have had if I were like part of the story thing. And then you can kind of tell here that I gave up. But there was the Frozen badge, Paralysis badge, Mythical badge, Leaf Badge, and Darkness Badge. And that's the end of my most recent Pokédex because there's nothing past it. I don't know if this motivated me to create an even more updated version, or if it just kind of made me stray away from it entirely. Like, if I ever were to actually update these, I think I would try to imitate the actual Pokemon art style more, rather than just drawing as I pleased. For things like original stories, I think the style is what speaks to it, and if I'm going to make a fake Pokemon, I might as well try to keep it as accurate as possible, as if it were in the Pokemon universe. But once again, I think looking back at art that you've made in the past really makes you appreciate the art style you have now. Like, when it really comes down to it, all the old art you make is just kind of like a tiny step towards a better art style that you want, you know? And if it weren't for making all these Pokemon, I probably wouldn't have made monster designs or like creature designs in my own stories better. I feel like I definitely took some inspiration from these. I can't quite, pinpoint which ones right now, but maybe once I go back into some stories that I've made, I'll definitely see some similarities there. But yeah, this was fun. I think I'll take a look back at some other drawings of mine pretty soon.